Hi everyone. The topic that I would love to talk about today is resilience, and more specifically, not the theoretical part of resilience, but more about what are some of the strategies and things that we can personally do in order to make sure that we can face whatever comes our way and not let it crush us. And I guess for me, this is the very non-scientific, non-academic definition of resilience, which is all about how we bounce back from the adverse experiences that happen in our life. And there are times when those adverse events actually lead to growth, and they really help us understand ourselves better. There is no human in the world who would be able to go through life without experiencing challenges, setbacks. Sometimes, unfortunately, these could be difficult circumstances for us, from losing a loved one to getting sick or having those around you getting unwell, losing your job, and it could also be a lot less traumatic events, yet those who still can be really hard for us to cope with, and depending on our level of resilience, would really depend whether they impact us a lot or not. And it could be even things like getting critical feedback or maybe a bad performance review. This is one of those things that when I think about it, I think when we don't have a high level of resilience, it's quite likely that we may also hesitate to get ourselves out of our comfort zones and do something different and kind of put ourselves out there, mainly because we know that when you're doing something that's new and uncomfortable, most likely, inevitably, there will be this point when a setback will happen and there will be a challenge. And if you know that you're always fall apart and kind of feel quite crushed around that, this might be really hard. Whilst if you know that you're someone who have been able to deal with difficult things in the past and you are going to be okay and you've got that resilience within you and that self-belief, then you may be more likely to do something like that and push yourself a little bit harder. And of course, there are things that are completely outside of our control and they come our way, and we really want to do everything that's in our power to help equip us to deal with it as effectively as possible. So when I think about strategies that can help us build up our resilience, they mainly would fall under four broad categories. So this would be strategies that look at the physical aspects, mental, environmental, and social. And what I see quite often is that when we talk to people about what their strategies for resilience are, quite often they would only fall within one category. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's good that you have some of those strategies, but you would be setting yourself up for the most success if you actually thought about and implemented some strategies out of those four categories. What are some of those examples? Let's start with the physical, and that's something that I talk to so many people at work all the time, and that's about looking after yourself. And I was reading this book recently, I can't remember what it's called, but I really like that phrase there, and it said protect the asset. And basically the asset, that's our body. So all those basics, like making sure that you have good sleep, you drink plenty of water, you eat healthy food, you move your body, all those things are essential not only for your health, but also making sure that you can stay resilient. Think about those days when you lost it, or a minor setback caused you to really fall apart. I don't know if I'm only speaking to myself here, but I once burst into tears because I was late for an appointment, and it's such a small thing, but if I reflect back on it, I was stressed, I was burnt out, I didn't sleep well, I had a bad diet that day, and I just wasn't at my best, so I couldn't really take it, even though it was quite a small thing. So first and foremost, physical is a really important element that you need to look after. Really look at, what are your habits? Are you going to bed at 2 a.m. in the morning and then kind of not feeling your best. What are you eating? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting out for exercise, for walks and things like that? And I'm not saying that you need to become like a super 100% healthy person, but looking at some of those elements, it would something that would make a really big difference. So that's physical. Number two, strategies around the mental element, and that is your mindset. Now, you could be exercising and eating healthy and doing all those things, but if mentally you're in a really negative mind space, you are constantly ruminating, and when I say ruminating, it means that you're thinking and rethinking and overthinking all the things that happened in the past, and you're kind of getting into those negative thinking patterns. It'll be really hard for you to stay resilient. So one of the things that then you need to work on is how do you think about life, basically. What are your beliefs, and what is your mindset? Things that you can do to help with that would be gratitude practice, for example. This is my all-time favorite. There is so much research on the benefits of the gratitude practice. So writing down every day 3 things you're grateful for really helps you rewire your brain and change your mindset to also notice the positive things. Doing a resilience building exercise that asks you to look back at an event that was challenging and think about how you were able to overcome it. And if you're sitting here today, it means that you have. Kind of building those neural pathways in your brain that help you see that, well, actually, I can overcome difficult things. All things like that really help you with building those mental blocks to help you be more resilient. I have a lot more examples around those, so I'll see how I go. Maybe I'll record another video in the future kind of breaking down each of them in a bit more detail. But for now, it's kind of, I guess, a brief overview. So we've covered the physical, we've covered the mental. Now the third one would be the environmental strategies, and that is all about how do you set up the environment that you're in that allows you to be at your best as well, and work with where you're at mentally at the time. So what I mean by that is, if you're feeling really under the weather, really sluggish, some of the things that could help is, for example, getting out and getting some fresh air, or playing some really energetic tunes. Music has a really, really big environmental impact on us. Same if you're on the other scale, finding yourself really agitated and kind of a little bit anxious. Things that can really help would be having dimmed soft light, really calming soft music. Think about your environment and what is helpful for you in order for you to, I guess, feel like you're at your best and kind of know what you need in the moment. If you need to energize yourself, it would be more around being in the bright light, kind of maybe more loud music and things like that. Versus if you need to calm down, it will be more about maybe going, like, one of the things that I do, for example, is I take the shower in almost in the dark with a little salt lamp in the evenings, and especially after a hard day, this is one of the best ways for me to kind of bring myself back to that baseline of where I am feeling at my best. And I guess everybody has their own strategies, but think about those environmental factors and find the ones that work for you. And the last one would be the social. And social is all about I guess, your social circle. And do you have people that you can draw on who can support you? Do you have people who share their positive energy? Or are you finding yourself that you're surrounded mainly with negativity? And that plays such a massive impact. If you're surrounding yourself with people who are optimistic and positive, and again, I'm not saying that we always have to be that way. No, we're human, but in general, you see that there is that positive energy that will really, really help you with your resilience. Maybe you can get an accountability buddy around some of the things that you're trying to create. That support group. And essentially, I guess making sure that you're just not feeling like you're completely alone and on your own to deal with whatever you're going through, and knowing that you've got that social circle and social support would inevitably help you with your resilience. And actually, during my positive psychology course on resilience, one of the things that I learned is that resilience is actually not about you just being resilient and that's it. And that's, I guess, kind of what I talk about here. Resilience, and what helps us build resilience is the resources that we have around us. And that could be that social support, those environmental factors, those things that are around us, things that we do that really, really make up that resilience bucket for us, that we can then draw from whenever life hits us. It's not just a matter of I'm a resilience person and I'm not, and that's something that we can proactively work on, and proactively make sure that we surround ourselves with the resources that we need in order for us to be as resilient as we can. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.